Hi, I'm Dell, a medical marijuana activist in North Dakota since 2006 and a medical marijuana patient. Today I want to talk about the differences between smoked, vaped, tinctures, salves, and eaten cannabis. There's a major difference or a minor difference between each one of these. So the first one I want to talk about is the difference between smoked and vaped. When you vape cannabis, all you're getting are the oils from the plant. There are little bulbous trichomes, what are called trichomes, on the buds or the flowers of the plant that have a little bulb. It's a little stem with a little bulb on the front of it. And those bulbs are what's turned into the oil. The plant material is not there. All it does is absorb the oils, and the oils are removed from the plant. So you have your THC and your CBD and CBC, CBG, all of these within those little trichomes, as they're called. When you smoke the plant, you're also burning the plant matter, like you would the difference between tobacco nicotine and like the little pouches that are non-tobacco nicotine. Okay, sometimes they get the nicotine from the tobacco plant, but the plant itself is not included. So you're not actually burning the plant. What you're doing is heating up a coil of some type to 100 or 295 degrees. And when you heat it up to 295 degrees, those oils vaporize. And when they vaporize, you just inhale the vapors, and there you go. Now, smoking is not as potent as the direct vaping of the oils, okay, because you concentrate all of these down into the oil. So an entire flower's worth may be in 2 puffs or 1 puff in the oil, where you couldn't smoke that whole big flower, say that big, um, all at one shot. I mean, really, you wouldn't want to anyway. But it's more concentrated, so it's more potent. Now, by smoking or vaping, it goes into your lungs, which gets distributed throughout your bloodstream and is pretty much an instant thing. So you'll feel the effects of smoking or vaping within, I'd say, 5 minutes, easily. Sometimes it's virtually instant. If you have back pain or you have joint pain or whatever, probably 1 or 2 puffs at the beginning, and you'll feel it going away. You'll feel the pain going away within just a few minutes, or subsiding anyway. Um, so that it's a really quick fix with the vaping and the smoking. Okay, then we can move on to eating. Eaten cannabis is usually used, um, it's the oils or the hash or those things that are actually usually used in the cooking. Very seldom will you actually find the actual flowers or the leaves or anything like that in cooking. Um, because when you cook cannabis, for you to get psychoactive effects, those cannabinoids have to reach at least 240 degrees. And yet they can't go above 295 degrees. Because if they go above 295, they vaporize. But they have to go to at least 240 degrees for them to decarboxylate. And you can see that video that I did I believe it was the last video I did on decarboxylation. But there are times that you don't want it decarboxylated. And there, again, see that chart on decarboxylation, see my other video. Because there are certain things that happen when you decarboxylate cannabis oil, or cannabis, I'll just say cannabis. Once it reaches 240 degrees, you remove the acids from the cannabinoids. Every cannabinoid has an acid attached to it until it reaches 240 degrees. So you have THCA, CBDA, CBCA, CBGA, and CBGVA. Okay? Those are the chemicals that have been isolated that are coming out of the plant that we know about. Once they reach 240 degrees, it changes from THCA to THC, CBDA to CBD, CBCA to CBC, CBGA to CBG, and CBGVA to CBGV. That's the way it works. But if you go above 295 Fahrenheit, then it vaporizes and you lose everything. So usually they'll use the oils and the actual, what they call keef, which is the crystals that fall off of the flowers, because that's actually what they make the oils out of anyway. It's those trichomes with the little bulb on the tip that is what the oils are consistent of. So eating it, by eating, say you make brownies or cookies or whatever, butter, when you eat it, it has to go through your entire digestive system before it gets into your bloodstream. That's how it gets into your bloodstream. Now, by eating it, like any medication, when you eat it orally, it takes a while to take effect. So you may not feel it for an hour, sometimes two. Don't just eat more because you don't feel it. You wouldn't do that with opioids or anything else. So just give it time. If you go 4 or 5 hours and you still don't feel anything, maybe try it again the next day. Same amount, and see if it kicks in then. Even the first time I smoked cannabis, nothing at all. And the only reason I really smoked it the second time was because I liked the smell of it. And if my friends were going to bring it out anyway, I may as well partake and be part of the crowd. I know it doesn't do anything to me. Yeah, well, that second time, I felt it. So, anyway, it's a lot of times that's the way it works. It's, your cannabinoid system may not have been used because your body creates the cannabinoids that adhere to the receptors in your body. If you never smoked or never ingested cannabis, the only cannabinoids you get, your body creates. And if they've never had anything to connect to those, then maybe they're not active yet. They haven't activated. So you may not even feel it the first time. But that doesn't mean take more next time. That just means let's start off with the same amount again and see if there's an effect. Because now your cannabinoid system has been activated. Okay? Your body has to create those cannabinoids out of omega 3, 6, and 9 fatty acids, which in normal food just really doesn't exist. You get a little bit with fish oil, things like that, flaxseed oil, different things. But it very seldom do we actually get those essential fatty acids in our diet, and that's why they're called essential fatty acids. You have to purposely eat those for these cannabinoids to be created to adhere to your cannabinoid system. So by eating the cannabis, you it actually has to go all the way through your digestive tract, through your stomach, through your pancreas, through your liver, through everything. So it takes longer, and it takes a little more of the cannabinoids. That's why most places will use the oils and the kief or the powdered cannabinoids. So now the next one would be tinctures. Now a tincture is usually made with cannabis oil or kief, and it's soaked into either a glycerin or another oil. It has to be a fatty oil. Coconut oil works really well because it's fatty. Cannabinoids, THC and other cannabinoids only are soluble in alcohol or fat. So usually something like glycerin or coconut oil or Everclear is what I use. But these tinctures, by making these, they only get dripped in the mouth, a drop or two under the tongue, and held there as long as you can hold it in your mouth. I mean, just don't swallow it right away. Swish it around in your mouth. What happens is it gets absorbed by your mucous membranes in your mouth, and it sometimes don't taste real good, but most of the time it doesn't taste real good. But at the same time, it's only a couple of drops. You're able to use it anywhere. Just open up a little eyedropper bottle and a couple of drops under the tongue. Now that takes longer than smoking or vaping, but I don't believe it takes as long as eating it. By it traveling through your mucous membranes and through your saliva glands and all that, part of it does go into your stomach to go through your digestive system, of course. But at the same time, you're absorbing it in your mouth. And I would say give it 20 minutes, a half hour, maybe even 45 minutes to see if you're actually getting anything from it. But be careful with that as well, because once you've overdone it, you've overdone it. Okay? And cannabinoids, when they reach a certain amount in your system, will turn psychedelic. So you will see tracers of things when you move your head. You will see bright, vivid colors. Things will just jump right out at you as far as colors and vivid vision, can I say, really clear, vivid vision, and the tracers get kind of weird. You might get dizzy, you might get upset stomach, things like that happen. Um, but you just be careful with how much you take, and you will feel. I mean, that's the best part about this medication, is that you will feel, if you start slow, comfortable as you go. You'll get more knowing of what you're going to feel and how much you can take. So that's the best part of this, is self-medication is, if you go overboard, it's your fault. But at the same time, if you start slow, you self-medicate only to the point where you need. So that nobody can do that better than you. You are your own best doctor, to be honest. You talk to your doctor about everything. I mean, tell him everything you're doing. Every doctor I have knows I'm taking cannabis oil for my cancer. And all they're doing is watching. I just had another PET scan yesterday. So we'll find out how that's going. The last PET scan I had, my two liver lesions, my two lymphomas in my liver shrunk. So we'll find out what's going on here next time I go have a meeting with my doctor. But every doctor I deal with, I tell all about this, and they're interested, which they should be. Um, when my doctor found out that my two lymphomas shrunk in my liver, he got extremely interested. So I tried to get the video. I really did. When I went in to get the results, I had my GoPro, or my pivot head shades on my hat, and I had them turned on, and I was waiting for him in his office, and I didn't realize that if you don't start a video within 2 minutes of turning it on, it automatically shuts itself off. So yeah, that didn't work out so good, but it was a very good meeting, and he was very interested in the cannabis oil treatment I'm doing myself. So these are the things. Now, you've got to be careful no matter what you're doing. I mean, no matter what drug you're taking, you have to be careful. So just start slow and progress from there at your own comfortable pace. Uh, so the last one that I need to talk about are salves. And salves you'll usually find as CBD salves. CBD salves have been decarboxylated. That's why they're able to be called CBD instead of having to be called CBDA. Now, certain ailments, you're going to want CBDA. So if you get your CBDs from whoever, ask them about any salves they may have that have CBDA, because there are certain ailments you're going to need those acids on the end of the CBD, the CBC, CBG, and the CBG So you're going to need the A's on the end of there, which means not decarboxylated. Um, but these salves are really good for pain. Some of them, I'm using one right now. I've got kind of a weird rash on the back of my hand, and I've been using CBD oil on that, and it seems to be doing just fine. It's not as bad as it used to be. And I do that once or twice a day, just rub some salve on it. But it's supposed to be good for psoriasis and, different skin ailments. I would try it before, like my mom used to get skin cancers on her nose and on her cheek. And she would go in and they would burn them off. And that, that don't appeal to me. I don't know about you, but that sure as hell don't appeal to me none. But I had one right here on my chest that, now this wasn't CBD oil. This was actually my oil that I take for my cancer. And I took a drop of it and I put it on there and I put a Band-Aid on it, crisscrossed a Band-Aid, and I left it there for 2 days. And when I peeled that Band-Aid off, I took my thumbnail and I literally scratched the head of that thing off of there. Didn't peel a thing. Scratched the head of it off of there. I had a little mark for a couple of days, but it never came back. That was gone, completely gone. And it still hasn't come back. It was about a pencil eraser sized blob right here on my chest. So I'm no doctor. Believe me, I'm no doctor, but I've studied this stuff for over 35 years. And I'm going to tell you, they've known. They've known all these things at least since 1974. So that's about it for today. It's, you got to take it as it comes and understand what you're dealing with. So I wish you the best, and y'all have a great day.